Okay, I've seen Obsession twice, and I want to talk about it. The first time I seen it was Unseen. It was AMC's Unseen Horror. The second time I saw it was just recently, like Monday. So let's go over it, okay? Now, spoilers ahead. There were a lot of things I missed the first time I saw it. The second time, I was able to sit there and really look at it and come in with more opinions. Now, when we first start off, we have Bear, aka Baron, who is talking to this woman, and he's saying these things. And the first time I saw it, I thought it was really sweet. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so nice! It's so beautiful." He's pouring his heart out. The second time he did it, I noticed he was mostly talking about things that she did for him. The fact that she went and helped out when his grandmother died. The fact that when he moved her, she was doing. It was everything of what she was doing. He didn't say anything about her personality. He didn't say anything about who she was as a person that he liked about her. He just fucking focused on the fact that she did things for him. Mm. I also saw Ian. And when Ian's like, "No, don't do that," and Ian starts to say stuff, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Ian, you suck." Second time around, I'm like, "Oh, Ian, you fucking suck. You're fucking a woman that you know that your best friend has a crush on. You're trying to help him along while secretly fucking her. That's a pretty shitty thing to do. Secondly, you're giving him terrible advice. You told him to call her Freaky Nikki, knowing she didn't fucking like it. You said everything that Bear tried to do, you were like, no, that's goofy, that's blah. No. That's a man telling another man not to do something because he doesn't want to see him succeed. At the same time, he doesn't want her. He just wants her body. When Bear throughout this entire film, the first time, I'm like, oh, he's so passive. The second time, I realize he's passive because he has no life. He has no personality. He's like a leech. In that he sucks onto something, and that becomes his focus, and then he moves on to something else and tries to suck the essence out of it. Let me explain. Now, Nikki had her own personality. She had her own likes and wants. When they were in the car together, she said, "You were like, I feel like I could tell you anything." She saw him as a friend. I also think she did maybe have a crush on him. I'll explain later. She says to him, like, "Hey, I feel like I can trust you. There's some friendship." But he knows nothing about her. That's what makes it sad. That's what makes it depressing. He knows nothing about her. But she feels like she can trust him and everything. So when he calls her Freaky Nikki after not giving her the Willow Wish, the one Willow Wish, she says, "Why would you call me that? You know I don't like it." You could see how angry she is. He's like, "I'm sorry," trying to play it off. But Ian was purposely fucking with him. Ian told him the worst thing to do, which again brings in, why would a man listen to another man? Why are men listening to what women want from other men? Other men don't know shit except other men. Women know what they like in men. Men know what they like in men or what they like in women. But they can't tell you what a woman wants most of the time. 98% of the time, they can't tell you what a woman wants or likes because they won't ask her. They will go and be like, "That's gross, feminine stuff." I mean, think about it. He said, "Oh, she doesn't want that feminine shit," Ian said to Bear. So Bear doesn't get her he didn't get her the crystal that she would have liked. Because again, she told him, like, "Hey, my crystal." He could have asked her, "What kind of crystal did you break?" He could have gotten her citrine. That would have been cool. He didn't do that. So he says, "I wish that she loved me more than anyone in the world," meaning that she has lost her autonomy. Now, Curry Barker has said that that wasn't a demon. That wasn't an entity. That was Nikki. What I think about is it took parts of Nikki. Because if you remember, during the car ride, she asks him about Sarah. Meaning she had talked to Sarah and Sarah had said to her, "Oh my gosh, I have a crush on this guy." In the same token, Nikki said, if I ever like a guy, no one's ever going to know. And because she's a girl's girl, she doesn't want to hurt Sarah, who she considers a friend. Here's the thing, though. When she said to Bear, "Do you like me?" and asked him, "Do you have anything?" she lingered. Her face fell when he said, "No, I don't like you. I see you as a friend." And she goes, "Okay, great." She then leaves. He then wishes for her to like him more than to love him more than anyone else. In my brain, the second time around, because the first time I thought it was a demon, the second time I said, no, you know what? That's the parts that do like her, but it's intensified. And because the wish said, loved me more than anything else in the world, that part that liked him and the part that loved him as a friend is like, oh my gosh, I really have to make sure I get with him. So she tries, but here's the thing. Later on in the movie, Bear tells Nikki, "You once said that I was like a closed book." So you have the part that loves him as a friend, and the part that liked him intensified up to 1,000, and it's trying to figure out who the fuck this man is. He doesn't say shit. He doesn't let anybody in. He has no fucking life. He lives in his grandmother's house, and yet he kept her pill bottles when I would have thrown that shit out. He kept the house the same. My room would have been so different from the rest of the house. Her room would have stayed the same, but the majority of the house, since I have it, has to change. No. He's an NPC character that was placed in real life and felt entitled to a woman's body. But I digress. So you have this woman, or the parts that are, hyped up and jacked up, trying to find something to connect to him. Because she has said everything about herself, but he won't answer. Because before this whole wish, she said to him, like, hey, what are things you like? What are things? And he wouldn't answer it. He was comfortable in his life, which fine. Everybody should be comfortable in their life. But wasn't growing as a person. She wanted to go and do her own thing. And she puts that to the side, like a lot of women do when they get into a relationship. In real life, will put their needs and their wants to the side. So you have Nikki, who wants to be loved, and she's feeling the love. Or that huge thing that he wished that was probably like maybe 5 or 10% that is now jacked up to 100%. And so because this Nikki has no autonomy, she wants him to love her. And here's the thing, he didn't know what love was. He confused it with obsession and lust, because he said, I want you to love me more than anyone else. Well, that means she's not going to take care of her peeing or pooping or vomit, her eating. She's not going to take care of it because, again, she loves you more than herself. I think that Nikki was looking at her like the Black Mirror episode where the woman was stuck in the mind of her husband, and then that teddy bear where she couldn't say anything, she couldn't do anything. All she could do was watch and be passive in her own life. So Nikki screaming to me was her realizing the second time around that she is stuck in this body, seeing everything outwardly and not being able to have autonomy over her own body. Then let's talk about Sarah and Ian. Both of them are shit friends to Nikki. How the fuck are you not going to talk to Nikki and be like, hey, what's going on? Nobody, you mean to tell me Sarah and Ian mostly talked to Bear, but they did mention how they knew that Nikki at least did not like her dad, but Bear didn't. That means while Nikki and Bear were talking, that motherfucker never really paid attention to what she said. Even though she said, I feel like I can tell you anything. He didn't listen to that shit. Meaning he didn't really give a fuck about that woman. And then you have Sarah and Bear. You have Sarah and Ian, who claim to be friends with both of them, but they spend the majority of the time talking to Bear. My friend seems like they're going something. I'm not going to go up to the other person and be like, hey, is something going on? I'm going to go talk to my friend and be like, hey, what's going on? When she stabbed herself in the bottle, I would have been like, you know what? This is toxic. I would have taken her away from Bear. Tried to get her away from Bear and been like, hey, let's go talk. They both suck. Did they deserve to die? Sarah did not deserve to die. I wish I could go more in depth, but I'm running low, so we're going to cut it here.